What is going on, guys? MJ2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the P-Bandai high-grade Gundam Burnlapius from Gundam Wing G Unit. Also known as the Prometheus Gundam, it was developed by Dr. Berg based on the Gundam Aesculapius and piloted by Kratz Sylvie, and his hunger for power makes it a risky machine to pilot due to the removal of the PX system limiter. This high grade comes with a hefty 17 runners, a sticker sheet, and a decal sheet, and thanks to 9 of the runners being entirely new to this kit, the heavy modifications will leave the build feeling quite different to its roots overall, despite it being based on a high grade Geminus. Strangely, it doesn't reuse any parts from the high grade Aesculapius, but that's besides the point. The head, shoulders, and legs are built from the ground up, with the latter two engineered with a solid transformation in mind. Naturally, that means a lot of mechanics and a lot of parts. However, that didn't lead to a dramatically complex build. Rather, a lot of parts just require precise alignments during the assembly, which constitutes most of the rough patches in the build. The other is how there are quite a few large gates used on the new parts, so it would take some precise cutting and cleanup to get them removed. Altogether, it's a high-grade build that is slightly more involved than the norm. When fully snapped together, you'd have a high grade with an aura that surpasses even new types. Despite not having any form of merch prior to this kit, the high grade Burnlapius is based on the Re-Operation redesign, and the kit's sharp and scaly sculpting and healthy level of surface detail pretty much lines up with the manga illustrations. I especially do like the dragon-like claws and updated leg design. However, while I understand the intent, the kit's shoulders just seem a bit comically long. Stickers that are currently visible are limited to the eyes, mohawk sensors, metallic orange on the chest and claws, the insides of the thrusters, grey chest vents, and light blue under the yellow chest vents, the last of which looking a bit cheap from the sides. Meanwhile, while seam lines are barely present as they are either filled in with channels or disguised really well, the large gates on the golden claw mechanisms are going to be a bit of an eyesore. But the weirdest thing about this kit is the colors. Despite being based on the redesign, the kit's color scheme is an homage to the original paint scheme instead, as distinguished by the color of the abs and leg plates. Furthermore, the blue is accurate to this particular crumby old line art, but should be greener when compared to every other depiction. Personally, I'm too jaded to care, but since there has more redesigns than I have friends, I consider it a win since it is accurate to one of them. Besides, apart from fitting in recesses and panel lining, there are technically no missing paint details, but I also recommend filling in the suspicious rear head details as well. Altogether, the high-grade Gundam Burnlapius sits in a weird position when everything is considered, but in a vacuum, it's a great-looking high-grade whose redesign isn't too ambitious for its own good. Articulation-wise, the head is on the double ball-jointed polycap connected into an absolutely rubbish socket, so even though the large V-fin and backpack can cause restrictions, the head might be dislodged before it can even be hindered. The shoulders can swing out, as well as roll and rotate. The arms cannot raise up much by default, there's a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and ball jointed wrists. Meanwhile, the claw aspects can rotate and unfold on 2 points each, and tilt on one axis, while the claws themselves have some dexterity. The abs can crunch slightly, while the waist can tilt further forwards and rotate a little bit. All the skirts can move to a degree, while the legs can drop down to pull off full front splits, and almost full side splits. There's the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, movable ankle flaps, and a ball jointed ankle armor, and a ball jointed foot with a moving toe. Altogether, the articulation is okay for something this bulky, but it's the stability that's driving me nuts. I'm glad the shoulder polycaps were replaced with polystyrene sockets for stability, but the hips were left untouched, leaving the lower body with a spongy feeling while trying to deal with the top-heavy design. On top of that, the neck, back skirt, and knees attach on as solidly as trying to push the same magnetic poles together, which I hate with a fiery passion. This kit has some acceptable range, but not the stability to handle itself well. In terms of accessories, besides the base adapter, the hands used by the Burnlapius only consist of the holding hands and left open palm. The weapons are also simplistic, starting with the assault bayonet. Instead of a lance head with machine guns, the redesign opted to go for a bladed beam rifle with 2 stickers for the scopes instead. It may be a cause for debates for G Unit's purists, but it sandwiches into the holding hands for use all the same. Meanwhile, the blades can flip around and close up into an anchor during melee combat as well, which I guess is a unique take on a melee weapon. The other optional is the EMF shield, which plugs onto the left arm exclusively with a brace and is adjustable by a ball joint, and thanks to its small size and forward positioning, collisions with the shoulders can be avoided, leaving its detail as its sole focal point. When not in use, the shield can be stored under the backpack without the brace. Then, there are the Golem Claw arm extensions for their use. To deploy them, the arms are rotated outwards at the bicep before they fold up snugly into the shoulder armor. Then after the claws are removed, the shoulder panel and claw joints fold up, while the latter locks into place to further conceal the arm. Lastly, the arm extension connects the removed claw back into the arm. Offering up a melee option with further reach, this redesigned version presumably also has ranged capabilities using the barrel in the middle of the claws, and thanks to the various joints, it's just as adjustable as a normal arm. However, I will say that the polycaps on the bicep and forearm are terribly weak on mine, so they might do with a bit of fortification. As a bonus, the top shoulder panel can be pushed down for easier access of the shoulder flap and arm when you want to reverse the transformation. Speaking of the transformation, after deploying the claws, the head is thankfully removed in order for the backpack to flip up and extend over the chest. Then, the shin thruster can unlock for the feet to retract into the leg before redoing the lock. Finally, an alternate adapter is used for the shield and anchor form bayonet to attach into the back. This results in the Duel Mode of the Gundam Burnlapius, essentially a knockoff Hygogg. And besides the somewhat loose claws, I'm glad that they've redone the transformation to not retread the Aesculapius' faults, but also kept the same general aesthetics of the original design, so it effectively still looks just as goofy and recognizable despite the head looking like a dorayaki. However, newly revealed stickers include the sensor and the red vent, and while the latter isn't as bad as I would have imagined, they still obscure the sculpted detail of the plastic part. In all honesty, I think this is the highlight of the high-grade Burnlapius, as the stability faults of the mobile suit mode are effectively removed or nullified, achieved with a process that is nowhere near as tedious or unstable as the high-grade Aesculapius. For leftovers, besides the duplicate mohawk, you get everything besides the original chest armor, yellow pieces, and the tops of the shield from the Geminis, on top of the accelerate rifle and redundant trigger finger hand. It's not quite enough to make a cracked Sylvie custom Geminis, but you can choose to mix and match parts with the Burnlapius if you wish. I hate it when my fears are confirmed, but if I have to describe the high-grade Burnlapius in 2 words, it'll be unfathomably frustrating. Apart from it being an absolute pain to get the camera to capture it right, the redesigned base is annoying G-Unit purists, and the proportions looking ridiculous for practicality's sake, the heart of this kit is based on a construction that isn't built to deal with the weight it has, resulting in it dissolving faster when moved than a witch that was splashed with water. And personally, I think it's for a lack of trying, as they could have upgraded most if not all of the joints that needed to bear weight like they did with the shoulders, and unless you address the issue yourself, posing the Burnlapius can quickly get on your nerves, and that is a bit of a shame to me since the aesthetics are well executed and not too ambitious for its own good. The fortified shoulders are indeed helpful, and the transformation mechanisms are greatly implemented, avoiding the pitfalls the Aesculapius fell into. And with it being most likely the only opportunity which gets a kit of the Burnlapius, I think they've really fumbled the bag by taking one small step for improvement, but not the one giant leap to go the full length. And that's all for me. Thank you for watching, drop a like and comment if you did enjoy the video, subscribe for more content like this, and feel free to follow me on social media with the links down below. That said, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out guys, bye bye.